Welcome to the Rogers Kakasungura YouTube channel. Being a leader in the office of the president, or rather being the president of a country, is not 1+1. When William Ruto was campaigning to become the president, allow me to say he thought running a government is like running a chicken farm in Sugoi. He thought like running a government is like running a cattle farm somewhere in Kilgoris. But becoming the president, it needs wisdom away from politics. You know, William Ruto thought that Uhuru Kenyatta was a madman when he had to introduce subsidies to cushion Kenyans from the high cost of living. I remember when William Ruto was very new, fresh in government, when he was being interviewed on Citizen TV, he announced removal of subsidies on 3 key areas. Number 1, he removed subsidies on fuel. He removed subsidies on electricity. And he removed subsidies on unga. 3 major areas. William Ruto is on record saying, I, the president, I will never at any point subsidize production. So according to William Ruto, at no point he was willing to bring back subsidies. And I heard him say, subsidizing fuel was a political decision by Uhuru Kenyatta and not an economic decision. But today, we want to look at who was indeed stupid upstairs. I'm sorry to use that term. I apologize. We want to look at who was clueless, who was ignorant. Because here alisema, as the president, subsidizing fuel is political and not economical, so he won't do it in his presidency. Can we listen to what William Ruto said on Citizen TV?
He's on fuel, electricity, and unga, saying they overburden the national treasury, pushing the government to borrow more in order to fund them. While speaking to media houses last evening, Ruto stated that had the subsidies program continued, it would have cost the exchequer up to 26 billion shillings per month and over 300 billion shillings annually. Faisal Ahmed has more on this story.
Weeks after taking office, President William Ruto removed subsidy on 3 key items: fuel, electricity and unga, stating that the program was unsustainable and was putting a strain on the national treasury, stating that the move by the previous administration was political. In his first media interview after assuming office, President Ruto said that the government was spending 16 billion shillings a month to subsidize fuel, 8 billion shillings on unga and 3 billion shillings on electricity, bringing it to a total of between 25 to 26 billion shillings a month.
The decision to subsidize unga, fuel and electricity was not an economic decision. It was a political decision. It was meant to placate Kenyans to vote in a certain way. Unfortunately, Kenyans did not buy it because they did not feel it. They looked for this unga of 100 shillings, they did not find. They waited for the price of things to come down, it did not come down, right? Because it was a political decision.
Former President Uhuru Kenyatta subsidized electricity prices by 15% to bring down the cost of power. However, according to President William Ruto, KPLC was only given 4 billion shillings out of a possible 26 billion shillings, plunging the power distributor into debt.
If you ask Kenya Power, they are supposed to have been paid 26 billion. I asked the MD of Kenya Power, so how much money were you paid? Apart from the money that Treasury gave, which is 4 billion shillings, and it was given in July. No other money was given to them. So what did Kenya Power do? It just went into debt, more debt. So you are financing a subsidy using debt.
President Ruto further criticized the subsidy of unga, stating that despite 4 billion shillings being paid to the suppliers, the subsidized product was not accessible to customers. He added that the remaining 4 billion shillings owed to the suppliers will not be paid until an audit is conducted.
The subsidies were introduced. The unga one was introduced for 1 month. It failed miserably.
So how much money did we lose?
Yeah, we didn't lose. We paid people 8 billion shillings, but I don't know. They are saying they supplied the maize, but nobody saw the 100 shilling maize, right?
President Ruto stated that the funds used for the subsidy could be channeled towards other things, among them purchase of fertilizer to ensure farmers have sufficient inputs to enhance the production, therefore avoiding the need for subsidies on food products. Whilst removing the subsidy on fuel last year, the government stated that they expected global fuel prices to self-correct in a few months, hence the need to remove the subsidy partially. Faisal Ahmed, Citizen TV.
That is William Ruto being interviewed on Citizen TV. Now, William Ruto, there are facts here I want you to know. He said he won't subsidize fuel. That's what he said. Alikata. But then, as of today, I want to give you facts. William Ruto has been forced to subsidize fuel as we speak. And right now, the government has deployed approximately 6.2 billion from the government to stabilize the fuel prices. This absorbed a deficit of 4.68 per litre for petrol and 23.92 per litre for diesel. Kerosene received the most significant intervention with a subsidy of 96.56 shillings per litre. Without the subsidy, kerosene could have retailed at 260 per litre instead of the current 152. Right? Now listen to this. William Ruto has turned to World Bank for an emergency loan to stabilize the cost of fuel. But you've heard him. What did he say? Alisema, when Uhuru subsidized fuel, it was political and not economical. Right? It was political and not economical. So, when it was political and not economical, it means it was a wrong decision by Uhuru Kenyatta. But then where are we today? The same William Ruto who rejected subsidy is today borrowing to subsidize fuel. So he came into government without understanding the reality on the ground. He thought he's coming vile anapelekeanga kuku chakula, akafikiria na serikali ni hivyo tu. Ndugu zangu wa Kenya, we must deal with clueless leaders and absorb competent leaders who understands what governance means. Let us deal with double speakers. Waenda nyumbani. Leo anazungumza kwa mdomo hii. Kesho anazungumza kwa ile mdomo ingine. Let all of us deal with these individuals. Tumalizane na wao, Kenya isonge mbele. God bless you.